What up, you amazing hackers? It's your boy, the Humble Hacker from Chi-Town, returning with another web application vulnerability walkthrough. And today, we hitting up some access control. Alright, so, quick summary of what is a broken access control vulnerability. What it is a way of tricking an application into letting us access things that we're not supposed to. So if there's think of it like like the big red curtain over at a movie theater. You're not supposed to see what's behind it yet, but if you sneak peek, you might get to see some of the ins and outs there. Well, actually, that's not really what happens in the theater. It's more of in the projection room that's behind the audience, and I can't believe that I made that point, so I'm going to have to redo it to put something different. All right, so picture being in a museum. There we go, a lot better. And there's a place that we don't have access into. After moving around and getting a nice little overview of the layout of the museum, we find an opening where we can access this area of the museum that we weren't supposed to without anybody even knowing what we did. Okay, so it's a way of escalating our privileges to where we could not get access into a room to where we can get access into a room. This is taking advantage of the misconfigurations of what's on the target. So let's look at a couple that we want to go ahead and do. Let's look at a unprotected admin functionality. So let's see, this lab has an unprotected admin panel. All right, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Let's set our proxy settings, make sure they are nice and correct. What I'm going to be doing more of, because I really like this function here that is inside of VoIP, which is being able to pull up a browser in here without having to reconfigure stuff from the browser that we're currently using. So we're going to go over to the proxy, intercept, open browser. I have professional, so I don't know if this is going to be on community or not. It should be on community, I believe so. So let's go ahead and just paste this address right here. Forgot I have my intercept on, so let's go ahead and just forward that right here. All right. All right, so here's our page right here. So what we need to find is an unprotected admin functionality. Now, the first thing that I like doing with this here is once we get our target in burp, going over to our sitemap, right-clicking, going over to engagement tools and discover content. Now, it's a hit or miss. We may or may not find anything, but it always pays to be just as a sanity check. So we're going to go over to our sitemap here, and this will begin to fill in. So basically doing, it's like directory busting, which is going down and trying to find whatever it can from the page, and whatever it finds here, it gets added to here, and that helps us out. Now, one major thing that we have to look into first, this is just a new step that I'm implementing in my when I'm working on hunting on targets and stuff. Haven't found anything yet, but I'm gonna get there. So I just like to do this just so because I'm working on Windows and I don't have Linux tools, or I don't know how to translate that from a VM to my actual machine. So let's stop this right here and let's see if we have any form of like a admin anything. So we don't have Squibbity Bop. Now let's take a peek at what this is going to say here. For our unprotected functionality, what this is doing is basically giving us our first step, which is in showing us there is an admin panel, but we don't fully know yet. So what's one file that we could look at first to see if we can at least see or track down where this admin panel is? And that's robot.txt. Robot.txt is a file that company will basically say what we can see from a web crawler versus what we should not be seeing from a web crawler, like files like the admin panel, for example. So let's go and see what that has in here. Robots.txt, right? Here, disallow administrator panels. So what that basically says is if we were to use a web crawler, we should not pick this up. Now, pages, they should still have a robot.txt file, but they might hide them anyway, just so to prevent people from seeing stuff like this. So let me go ahead and copy that. Paste that right here. And now we are in the admin panel. No need to try to brute force or guess passwords or anything. This was something that was easily accessible to us by simply looking over at that admin, looking at that robot.txt file. So now we over here, we click on delete, and we solve the lab. All right, let's go over to our next one now. Unprotected admin functionality with unpredictable URL. Now, for this one, it's going to be a little bit different. So, let's see. This lab has an unprotected admin panel. It's located in an unpredictable location. But the location is disclosed somewhere in the application. All right, that's a lot. So, we're going to do this in 2 different ways. All right, let's get our domain. Let's pop up our VoIP. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Highlight this, click on edit, and then just paste URL, and it'll overwrite what we already have in there. Right? So let's go to here. Pull up our lab. Alright. So how this is going to work, as I was saying, which is in 1 out of 2 ways. 1. This is in, again, Burp Pro, which is discover content and find comments. So we're not going to have these in the community edition, but they will be in the professional edition. But also, simply we can just use the intruder for directory busting for this discover content. A little trick I'm going to be doing a video on later. Finding comments. This is looking in one particular spot, which is called the source code. So these are basically going to be comments that are going to be in the source code anyway. So let's see what we have. We don't have anything here. All right. So that was one way of potentially finding something. Now, the other way is we simply right click that. We go to view page source, and let's see what we could dig up. All right. So we have links to the CSS for the lab header. Okay. We got a JavaScript file for the lab header. Okay. We have the link over to this particular lab that we in. And it looks like we have this right here. What is this? This is var is admin equals false if is admin top link blah, and admin panel tag set attribute href here. Okay, so this here resembles highly of a directory path. So let's simply add this to the end of this right here, and yes, I'm in viewing the source code. So let's hit that, and let's see what this is right here. All right, and it looks like we are in the admin panel because we now have this open. Now, how do we render this? Easy. Simply get rid of view source. Why? Because we ain't viewing no source. We hit enter right there, and blammo, we are on our rendered page. So what do? We say deuces Carlos, click that button right here, and then boom, we have successfully solved this secondary lab. All right, so that's going to be 2 labs that we just knocked out from broken access control. I'm going to be doing I'm going to probably keep it up with we're doing 2 labs per bug on Portswigger a week. So like 1 lab one day, 1 lab another day type of a thing. So I'm thinking about doing this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you would like for me to go ahead and work it that way, where I do 2 web vulnerabilities a week and then 1 machine from OSCP or try hack me. I will. Other than that, thank you for joining me. I am Shy Ronan, and I am out.